I do not understand why it is so difficult for me to have a sleek bun. My curls will not let me be great. Hey guys, welcome back. So this video is going to be some of my tips on how to secure a job during your interview. If you haven't already, make sure you go watch my video on my most common interview questions. The video will be in the link description box below. So let's get into the video. Number one, it is so important to be at least 15 minutes early. Actually, 15 minutes is the perfect, because you don't want to be too early so that the interviewer feels like they're rushed and they're not ready for you. But 15 minutes is like the perfect amount of time to get there, to be early, to show that you're prompt. It just leaves such a good impression, because you don't even want to risk being a minute late, because that is like an automatic no, like you get X off the list. Be early. Another tip I can share with you guys is the first impression is everything. When you go to give a handshake, make sure you're giving like a firm handshake. Don't break their knuckles, but do it with confidence. Like, hello, hi, I'm your new hire, what's good? You don't want like a flimsy like it shows like that you're not confident and you're like basically. I'm telling you, handshakes are everything. Practice with your family, practice with your dog. Handshakes are important. Another thing is you want to make sure you maintain eye contact with the interviewers during your interview. Now, don't stare them down and be like, I'm the perfect fit for this job. Like, don't freak them out. But when you're talking to them, when you're answering their questions, don't be like, I mean, I want to be a nurse because like that just shows that, again, that you're not confident, and it's just so important to look your interviewer in the eye. Okay, quick side note. When I went into my interview for the job that I got as a registered nurse in the emergency department, 4 women walked in. Like, first it was the director, and I'm like, oh, okay, hi, nice to meet you. And then walked in the educator. I was like, oh, okay, 2 people, hi. And then walked in a supervisor, and I'm like, well, golly, like, just call the whole department in here. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit nerve-wracking. And especially when there's multiple people in the room, you want to make sure that you give everybody eye contact. So, like, start on the left side as you're answering, like, go through everybody. Don't just be like, stare everybody down, but you want to make sure that you maintain eye contact with everyone. Something else that's really important that you should do before going into your interview is, if you're interviewing at a hospital, a business place, an office, anywhere that you're interviewing for, it's so important to do some research before. Like, what I do is, like, I read up on the hospital, get some background knowledge, especially their mission statement. So what I did was, during my interview, I brought up my hospital's mission statement. I was like, oh, I love how your mission statement stands for such and such, and I know you recently expanded. So that kind of, when I said that, the interviewers were like, oh, like, it shows that you're really interested and you're committed to their facility because you did background research. It shows that, you go above and beyond and that you're really serious about this job. Another thing that's really important is to dress professional. I know this is a given, but some people do not know what professional is sometimes. Please do not go in there wearing jeans. Make sure your hair is like decent. Y'all know my hair is like a freaking jungle. So whenever I go to interviews, I always like just put it back in a bun or like a whatever, but I always like have it back and like brushed because it looks neat. Now, I'm not saying that if you have like natural hair, like don't go as yourself, but whatever kind of hair you have, just make sure it looks neat. Like, I feel more comfortable with when my hair is just like back in a pony or a bun. So please do not go in there wearing jeans. Please, your interviewers don't want to see your titties. Do not wear a skirt that is so short. If you bend over, your crack is going to be out. Just be professional. Nothing too tight, nothing too revealing. Look up some Google images of interview clothes, buy that outfit, and go with it. Another thing you want to do is bring a couple copies of your resume and your cover letter to give out to everyone at the interview. My dumb self printed out like 5 of my resumes, right, all ready to go. And I was so nervous that I forgot to hand them out. So I'm sitting there the entire interview with the resumes like under my hands. And at the end, I'm like, oh, this is for you. And they were like, no, it's okay, don't worry about it. So it's okay to get nervous and do silly things sometimes. They expect it, like they know you're nervous. Like, it's okay, take a deep breath before you answer questions. And that's another thing. It's okay to pause before answering questions. If they ask you a question and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know, it's okay to take a second to think of a decent answer. You know, you don't want to rush off and then tell them something that makes no sense. Take your time when you're answering questions. Just take a deep breath and just chill. Another thing you don't want to do is ask about the salary during your first interview. Again, you don't want to make it seem like all you're doing this for is the money and it's just formality. Like, you just don't ask about salary unless they bring it up. If they bring it up, that's different, but you don't want to just go ahead and be like, well, how much am I going to be making? You know, like, let them come to you with that. Another tip I can give you guys is if they ask about your past job or if they ask anything about your past professional relationships, whatever, always speak positively on that person or that facility, wherever it was. You know, they don't want you to hear that, like, oh my God, I freaking hate Susie, like, she was the worst. They want to hear that you're talking positively about the people you used to work with or your old establishment. I don't care if you hated your last job and it was the worst place ever and they treated you like garbage. Still do not speak negatively on it. Just be like, well, it just wasn't a good fit for me. That's why I left, or that's why I'm no longer there. I feel like my talents could be used on a greater scale elsewhere. Something positive. Another piece of advice I can give you guys at the end of your interview, when they ask you, do you have any questions for me? Always ask questions. It makes you seem like you're interested and that you were paying attention during the interview and that you are just interested. So a lot of the questions I like to ask I usually just ask two because I don't want to bombard them. I ask what's their favorite part about working at wherever they work. So if they work at the hospital, what's your favorite thing about working at this hospital? And another question I ask them, the wording, I always change it up, but something along the lines of, what qualities that you will see in me will let you know that you hired the right person for this job. Something along those lines. Again, if you have any other questions that you want to ask them, go ahead and make sure, you know, they're professional questions. You know, you don't want to ask about, like, are they married? Like, what's their favorite color? Like, relevant stuff. So thank you guys so much for watching. That's all I have for you guys. See you guys next week.